Hey team, you're watching Hide and Sneakz, and this is part 3 of our 2025 Sneaker of the Year awards. In part 1 we covered our top picks for different coloured shoes, and in part 2 we covered our performance sneakers. If you haven't seen those, check them out in the description. And today in part 3 we're covering our Jordan Retro lineup, assigning awards from Jordan 1 all the way up to Jordan 14s. It's going to be a good one. Alright, well let's start off with our most important category, which is our Jordan 1 Sneaker of the Year. And this includes mids, highs and lows, and probably is one of the most important categories because it's both the Jordan that launched it all, but it's also the one that's probably had the most timeless look and feel, and there's so many releases every single year. So let's go and look at our nominees. The Jordan 1 High in the 85 cut in the bread colorway, a classic pair that everyone's been chasing and had incredible marketing in 2025. The Jordan 1 Low Chicago colorway. We love our Chicagos. It's been a while since a proper true version has come out, and this classic in a low is taking advantage of that Jordan 1 Low hype. The Jordan 1 Low Voodoo Alternate collaboration with Zion Williams. Now this is a great one because it captures such bright, vibrant colors with some great storytelling. The Jordan 1 High Shattered Backboard, one of the best orange pairs we've ever had release. The Jordan 1 UNC Reimagined, another great addition to the Reimagined series. And the Jordan 1 High collaboration with Union LA on the third release, this time in the Chicago Shadow colorway. Great successor to the first two, which are already hugely sought after and popular. As we would expect, is incredibly stacked. There is a lot of those retro OG colorways at least making a nod, from the Chicagos to the Breads, even the UNCs, and then some more recent classics that we've seen with the likes of the Shattered Backboard. But of course, there can only be one winner and one runner-up. So my runner-up for the Jordan 1 Sneaker of the Year is the Jordan 1 Low Chicago, and it's right here. Despite being a red coloured shoe, it's an incredibly wearable pair. Materials are solid, and when you try to get your hands on a Chicago, it's always such an expensive cost. But this one's been pretty accessible, and that would have been my pick for Jordan 1 of the Year if it wasn't for the Jordan 1 Bread 85. Wow, what a shoe. The marketing, the hype, it was incredibly sought after this year. It's the 85 treatment, which is always such a good take on the Jordan 1. It's got the bread colorway, which is fantastic. It's just combining two fantastic things together. Moving into the ugly duckling of this Jordan family, we've got the Jordan 2. And we've got to work out what is our top pick for a Jordan 2. Now, I'm not sure if I missed any releases or I've just not captured this because it's not my top pick for a Jordan model. But in terms of nominations, I don't have a single pure Jordan 2. All of the nominations are Jordan 2-3 hybrids. For the sake of having some nominees for this category, we're going to go with these. So the nominees for this category are the Jordan 2-3 hybrid UNC to Chicago, capturing great storytelling and a nod to Michael Jordan. The Jordan 2-3 white, black, metallic silver, classic, wearable, neutral colors, and a little bit of a hint of Oreo flavor. The Jordan 2-3 hybrid in the black rust pink colorway, a colorway that's more designed for the model and not just the generic use of black and white. And the Air Jordan 2-3 Hybrid Earth, a woman's release that brings in neutral tones with earthly tones to make a pair that would be fitting for an Armani collaboration. Well, as you can see, not a lot of nominations for this particular category, but we do have to pick a winner and a runner-up. And my runner-up today is the Air Jordan 2-3 Hybrid in the rust pink black colorway. I think this one has a little bit more going for it. It's not a classic take where they've just taken the silhouette and applied white, black and an accent color. I think they've actually tried to make this its own dedicated shoe, and for that I've got to give that some recognition. And that would have been my top pick if it wasn't for the woman's release, but the combination of white with brown to me is a very popular and aesthetic color scheme at the moment. It's very Travis Scott, it's very Armani, and I think it works really well. So for me, that is my Jordan 2 Sneaker of the Year. Next up, we have the Jordan 3, and I think the Jordan 3 has had a really good year in terms of colorways and releases. We've had some retros pulled out from the vault. We've had some pairs that they've done some great color switch-ups. And what I appreciate, I think, the most is actually Jordan Brand has put a lot into the design of these shoes. The overall use of the elephant print can be a bit restrictive in some classic Jordan 3s, but they haven't let that hinder them, and they've done some good panel switch-outs to make some really interesting storytelling and overall designs on the model. So there's some great nominees. Let's go and check them out. The Jordan 3 Lucky Shorts, clean, white and simple with a great pop of accent color. The Jordan 3 Pure Moneys, a return of an absolute classic, an all white out pair that you can wear on the regular. The Jordan 3 Rare Air, a black pair with a fresh take that differentiates itself from the black cement. The Jordan 3 Soul 2.0s, a twist on a classic that's been pulled out from the vault. The Jordan 3 Family Affair, a more adult and mature take on a Jordan 3. And the Jordan 3 El Vuelo, great storytelling and a nod to Mexican wrestling and Mexican heritage. Well, as you can see, the Jordan 3 was an incredibly competitive category this year. It wasn't as simple as just releasing OG retros. There was some real clever thinking and storytelling done to this. But of course, there can only be a runner-up and one winner. My runner-up for the Jordan 3 of the year is the Jordan 3 Rare Air. What I like about the shoe is it's so clever in its design. First of all, it's got that heel tab counter on the back where they've done the overall production era nod, so there is some good storytelling there. But I like the way they've switched up the panels and they've still made a classic black shoe that is not so reliant on being a black cement nod. And that is one of the toughest parts about releasing a dark Jordan 3, is it almost always becomes a black cement. And in other years that might have been my top pick if it wasn't for this pair here, the Jordan 3 El Vuelo. It's something I've been very vocal about on this channel that I think has great storytelling. The gold hits on it feel a bit more premium. The overall switch out almost makes it feel like it's done like a customized pair. For me, the Jordan 3 El Vuelo is my pick for the Jordan 3 Sneaker of the Year. Up next, we have the Jordan 4, one of the most popular models in the Jordan Retro lineup, so you can probably imagine this is going to be a heavily contested category. We've got some heavy hitters bringing back some OG retros into the mix, some new colorways, and some awesome collaborations. It's going to be a tough one, so let's go see who our nominees are. The Jordan 4 Cavestone, a fantastic brown entry that is very competitive against other brown collaborative pairs. The Jordan 4 Rare Air, a black base shoe with some great accent colours that might rival some of the OG retros in the dark colourways. The Jordan 4 collaboration with Undefeated, one of the most sought after collaboration pairs from the early days, brought out of the vault and back in 2025. The Jordan 4 White Cement, the OG retro classic we all know and love, is finally back. The Jordan 4 Black Cat, popular in 2020, retroed again in 2025, the blacked out pair that everyone wants. And the Jordan 4 collaboration with Nigel Sylvester on the Brick by Brick pair. Great storytelling, an orange pair with great materials, and bringing to life the nods of the bricks from New York City. Well, as you can see, the Jordan 4 nominees are heavy hitters, and you can imagine this is not an easy one to pick. But I do have a runner-up and a winner that I have to share out, and this might be controversial because I know a lot of people love the Brick by Brick pair, but unfortunately the Brick by Brick is not going to place. Instead, I'm going to give my second place to the Jordan 4 Cavestone. I really love this pair and I think it is incredibly underrated. Overall, the shoe does a lot well. The materials are solid, the colour scheme of the brown and black looks fantastic, and to be perfectly honest, and I know I keep saying this, if this was a collaboration pair, it would absolutely have sold out. And I find it insane to think that there is an Armand Manier pair coming out later that looks so similar to this and is getting all the attention, but this pair is going unnoticed. And it would be my top pick for the 2025 Jordan 4 of the year if it wasn't for this pair here, the Jordan 4 Rare Air. Now, I love this pair. First of all, ignoring the cool collectability fact of it, which actually creates a great part of sneaker culture, collecting your shoes and having that surprise and delight moment. But to be honest, I really just love the overall design of the shoe. It's that red and black hit. It kind of seems reminiscent of the pair we've seen of a Jordan 4, which I have talked about in my review of the shoe. But the overall black base with the accents of the blue, the white and the red, it just looks very clean. It captures a lot of the good DNA of an OG retro, and this might be a hot take, but I think over time I might even put this on the same pedigree as a Jordan 4 Bred. I know it doesn't have the same lore and history behind it, but man, is that a wearable pair, and I think if you can get your hands on it, chase it now because the prices are not crazy, but I think it will be a different situation in the future. Moving on, we have the Jordan 5 Sneaker of the Year. And there's been some fantastic drops for Jordan 5. And in fact, we've been spoiled this year by how many OG retros we've had. How often do you get the particular OG retros you want for a particular model all released in the same year? It's been absolutely crazy for Jordan 5s this year. But let's look at those nominees and see The Jordan 5 Tokyo, making a return from the sneaker vault, a pair none of us thought we were ever going to see. The Jordan 5 Fire Red with the black tongue, super wearable, super clean. The Jordan 5 Black Metallic, a retro none of us thought would see the hype it did, and potentially one of the biggest surprises of the year in terms of demand. The Jordan 5 Grape, white, purple and teal is such a weird combination, but it works so well on this pair. And the Jordan 5 collaboration with Awake New York in the Racer Blue colorway. A great collaboration that really shines and has a unique take on the Jordan 5 silhouette. Well, as you can see, there were some pretty big pairs in the Jordan 5 drop, but of course there can only be one runner-up and one winner, and a runner-up for me this year is the Jordan 5 Black Metallic. Look, all I can say about this pair is it's such a classic, super wearable, and wow, I am so glad I hit for retail on this pair because it's a size 15. The prices on this is insane. I haven't seen this much hype on a Jordan 5 in such a long time, so it's really positive to see that because hopefully it means we get a lot more Jordan 5 drops in future years. And that would have been my top pick if Jordan Brand didn't decide to dive deep into the vault and grab a pair none of us thought was ever coming back. That's right, my top pick for the Jordan 5 Sneaker of the Year is the Jordan 5 Tokyos. What an incredible pair. I love yellow, it's my favorite color, and this is one of those pairs that you just go, if I want a yellow pair, that is the grail. A fantastic release, again, very hard to get your hands on. Haven't got one myself, but fingers crossed, but I can't deny Jordan 5 of the Year. Up next, we have the Jordan 6 of the year, and it's actually been a pretty light year for Jordan 6s. In fact, I only have one nominee, so it's a one-horse race, and the nominee for Jordan 6 of the year is the Jordan 6 collaboration with Armanier on the Smoky Mauve colorway. There's not much to say about this pair. It's reasonably solid. I don't think it would win necessarily as the best Jordan 6 in other years. However, it's a one-horse race. So with only one nominee, it's probably no surprise that this is going to be our Jordan 6 of the year. But our Jordan 6 of the year is our Jordan 6 collaboration with Armanier. Moving on to our Jordan 7 of the year. Now last year we had quite a few Jordan 7s released. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins this year. And our nominees are no one. I don't know if I've missed it. Let me know in the comment section below if you're aware of any Jordan 7s releasing. But from what I could tell, there wasn't any major Jordan 7 releases this year. So no nominations, no runners-up, no winners. Unfortunately, the Jordan 7 Sneaker of the Year sits on the shelf this year. Moving on to Jordan 8, and Jordan 8s are a bit of an acquired taste, but we have had only 2 releases this year. However, they are some classic OG retro colorways, so if you are after 8s, it was a good year for you. Our nominees for Jordan 8 Sneaker of the Year are the Jordan 8 in the Bugs Bunny colorway, making its return, and the Jordan 8 in the Aqua colorway, one of the most classic and very 90s inspired Jordan 8s. So it's only a 2-horse race, but we can pick a runner-up and we can pick our Jordan 8 of the year. My runner-up would be the Bugs Bunny colorway. Solid colorway for a Jordan 8, however, it can't compete with what I consider the most classic and best version of a Jordan 8, which is the Jordan 8 Aqua. The shoe itself has quite a retro thing going with it. It is really 90s, and the overall color scheme of the Aqua really caters to that well. So for me, the Jordan 8 Sneaker of the Year is the Aquas. Moving on to the Jordan 9s, and typically they don't release a lot. In fact, from what I could tell, there was only one pair released, which was this pair here, the Jordan 9 Cool Greys, and that is the only nominee we have for this category. So, unsurprisingly, our Jordan 9 Sneaker of the Year is the Jordan 9 Cool Greys. I do think this is a pretty good version for a Jordan 9. Not a massive fan of the model in general, but I do think this was a great release for that particular model for 2025. Moving on to the Jordan 10, and I feel the Jordan 10s is another model that is probably a bit of an acquired taste, but fortunately, if you are a Jordan 10 lover, we had a couple releases here in 2025, and I do think they were reasonably solid. So without further ado, let's get into our nominees. The Jordan 10 Shadow, making its return in retro, and the Jordan 10 Steel, also making its much anticipated return. So there we go, it's a 2-horse race and it's pretty hard to separate them because there's not a huge amount going on with them, but I will say our runner-up I would give to the Steel. I think the white itself is quite simple and classic, but I do like the overall take of the Shadow, which is why the Shadow I feel uses the silhouette a little bit more and has slightly better looking material on it. So for me, the Jordan 10 Shadow is my pick for Jordan 10 of 2025. Moving on to the Jordan 11s, and Jordan 11s is one of my guilty pleasures, and it's been a fantastic year for Jordan 11s. Now, as a Jordan 11 collector, it's often quite hard to grow your collection because they only really release one accessible pair in December every single year. This year though, it's a totally different story. Being an anniversary year, they've released a lot of different pairs, including some city colorways. So it's been a really good year if you are a Jordan 11 lover. So let's get straight into it and see who are my picks for the Jordan 11 nominees for Sneaker of the Year. The Jordan 11 Low Bread, one of the classic OG colorways and a super wearable low version. The Jordan 11 Low Snake, one of the continuations of the Zodiac pairs done in great treatment with some iridescent accent features. The Jordan 11 Gamma Blues, a much anticipated return since 2013. This pair is a great blacked out pair for people to get excited about. The Jordan 11 Grand Finale, one of the fantastic Jordan 11 women's releases that most men wish came in big extended sizes. The Jordan 11 Rare Airs, a mid-year release that none of us were expecting, that had some fantastic treatments and nods to similar pairs like the Jordan 11 Jubilees. And the Jordan 11 Mojaves, a great material switch up, feeling super premium, using suede in place of the patent leather. As you can see, there were some great drops this year for the Jordan 11, including both highs and lows. However, we can only pick one runner-up and one winner. And this year, my runner-up for Jordan 11 Sneaker of the Year is the Jordan 11 Mojave. Now, this pair I think is fantastic. There were lots of great city drops this year, but what I like about this pair is it feels super elevated, super premium. I think the Jordan 11 as a whole is quite hard to do too much design work to. The patent leather is so iconic, so when you take that panel out, it becomes quite challenging to keep the DNA of the shoe, and if you keep it, it can sometimes become quite restrictive. This pair though did a great job at using that suede swap out, and it looks really good. The color itself is interesting and very different to the rest of other Jordan 11 lineup we've had in the past. So for me, a fantastic pickup and drop. And it would have been my top pair if it wasn't for this pair here, the Jordan 11 Rare Air. Now this pair was a great surprise releasing halfway through the year. We typically don't get Jordan 11s like this until the end of the year, but this one does some really good stuff. First of all, it brings a continuation to the Rare Air lineup, and it does it really well on the 11. It's also got some subtle details where it does make a bit of a nod to some unreleased samples. I know the Jordan lettering on the shoelace loops is a nod to what they were trying to create when they first released the Jordan 11 pair. They did that on the Jubilees, and I really love that storytelling, so to bring it here and kind of treat it as an unreleased sample in the storytelling of the Rare Air lineup, and more importantly, is my pick for the Jordan 11 Sneaker of the Year. Moving on to the Jordan 12s, and if I said the Jordan 5 had a great year, then the Jordan 12 had a fantastic, incredible year, because every pair, barring the playoffs and the cherries you'd want from a Jordan 12, released this year. It's going to be a very competitive category, so let's go and look at our nominees. The Jordan 12 Mellow, bringing back a past colorway that has some fantastic treatment and a real good shake up to the Jordan 12 color blocking. The Jordan 12 Flu Game, one of the most sought after pairs, capped in that Jordan mythos and lore. The Jordan 12 French Blues, one of the fantastic classic takes on the Jordan 12. The Jordan 12 Taxis, black, white, with that orange and black carbon fiber, an instant classic that we all love seeing when it comes out on a Jordan 12. Well, that's some fantastic nominees for the Jordan 12 category, and I have really had to work hard on this one. This might be even harder for me to work out than possibly the Jordan 4s, but there can only be one winner and one runner-up, and my runner-up this year is the Jordan 12 Mellows. Now, I really like this. It's bringing back a classic pair from the vault, which I always love to see, but I also appreciate when Jordan Brand does some clever design work and is not restricted by past iterations or color blocking. Now, we often see the mudguard becomes the main accent color on a Jordan 12, so it's really just a single color upper and that mudguard, but the Mellow does that very differently, and it almost feels a lot more wearable and clean with its design choice. Now, if it wasn't for number one, I probably would have easily put this as my Jordan 12 Sneaker of the Year. However, I can't ignore one of my favorite releases on the Jordan 12, and that is the Jordan 12 Flu Game. There's something about the red they use and the combination on the black shoe and the overall silhouette of a 12 that really makes this shoe pop. It's a shoe I think you can wear that, despite being loud, looks so good on foot, and hey, We all love Jordan lore in our pairs of shoes, and this one has so much lore and history behind it, so it has to be, in my mind, the Jordan 12 sneaker of the year. Moving on to the Jordan 13, and normally we have a couple Jordan 13 to talk about, but this year I had to look, and I looked so hard that I couldn't find any women's pairs, any men's pairs, and I actually had to go to the grade school pairs. So as you can imagine, another one-horse race, but let's go to our nominee for this, and that is the Jordan 13 grade school Sail Pine Green. Now all in all, this pair is pretty solid. It's using that classic accent color, white base, nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately, we don't have anything else to compare it against, so it's a very easy win for this pair. This is our Jordan 13 sneaker of the year. Moving into our final pair in the Jordan 1 through 14 retro lineup for our Sneaker 2025 awards, and we have the Jordan 14. Now this year we only have 2 nominees, and I've really had to stretch ourselves to get to that second spot. So with that in mind, let's go to our nominees and see which pair came out on top. The Jordan 14 Ferrari. Loud, red, and making its return as one of the most iconic Jordan 14 colorways. And the Jordan 14 Retro Golf Bordeaux. A bit of a shake-up to your typical Jordan 14 treatment, but the quilted pattern works so well in that golfing environment to feel premium. So those are our nominees, and it's another 2-horse race, but I do have to pick a runner-up and a winner. My runner-up is the golf pair. The golf pair I feel has a lot actually going for it. I like the quilted pattern on the side to make it feel more premium and more sort of tied in with golf. Obviously though, it is a cleated pair, and that can't in my mind become the top pair pick, especially when one of the iconic pairs such as the Jordan 14 Ferrari is being released that same year. So unsurprisingly, my Jordan 14 sneaker of the year is the Jordan 14 Ferrari. It's loud, it's cool. If you are going to go for a 14, I think this is a great one to pick up because it does have that loud, traditional take that we expect on some of those iconic 14 models. Well, that's that. We made it to the end of our Jordan 1 through 14 retro part of the 2025 Sneaker Awards. Now there is one final part coming up, which is the main categories. Think Jordan of the Year, Nike of the Year, Adidas of the Year, Sneaker of the Year. There are so many great categories coming up in the final part of the Hide and Sneakz 2025 Sneaker of the Year Awards. I look forward to talking to you about that. If you are not, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when that video releases. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.